really sorry I kind of disappeared on you. I went away on holiday, and I was going to do a few more videos before that, but I kind of got bogged down with everything. So I was able to do some reading, but I didn't have time to make the video I was going to make explaining that I wasn't going to be around for a few weeks. So I'm sorry about that. Here I am. I got back actually this morning by how late it was, and I'm making another video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about the books that I read on holiday, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I did in that place. So I'm going to do this in 3 parts because I went to 3 different places. This is part 1, Scotland. So I read 5 different books while I was in Scotland. The first one I finished was The Return of Sherlock Holmes. After reading the adventures and memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, I wanted to get onto this immediately because it kind of resolves what happens at the end of that. So I was really eager to read it, and I really enjoyed reading it as well. Again, the stories were fantastic. They were all really interesting, and I enjoyed trying to work out the cases. I found the more that I read, the more I was able to work them out. In a way, it took away the sort of sense that Sherlock was way cleverer than anyone else, but there's still lots that I couldn't work out, and it was quite fun being able to work them out for myself a bit. The next book I read was The Tiny Wife. I must admit, I didn't realise, it's a really short book. I didn't realise it was going to be this short, and I probably wouldn't have got it if I'd known, because I thought it was going to be a novel. But it is a really interesting story. It was very thought-provoking and very enjoyable. It's like a bit of a fable, discussing the things that we value and the things that are important to us. I don't know if I would have got it at a bookshop because it is quite short, and if I'd realised I might not have got it, but it was an enjoyable read. The next book I finished was The Orange Girl by Jostein Gaarder. Now I sort of knew I would enjoy this book because I love his books. This one I felt was more geared at slightly younger readers, not like really young, but sort of 15-year-old, because the protagonist is that age, and the book's divided between his narrative and a letter that his dad wrote to him, which was kind of intended for someone that age. So in that sense, I think it's probably it's a good choice if you are around about 15, and if you're older, I mean, I enjoyed it still, but it might be worth reading some of his other books first. But it's a really good story, lots about sort of the value of life and the amazingness of our universe. So it's a good book and worth a read. The next book I read was The World and Other Places, which is a collection of short stories. I found them all really interesting. There's a lot of variety in them. Some are sort of more realistic than others, some are more romantic, some are more funny, but they're all really good and really entertaining, and also quite thought-provoking, so it's definitely worth a read. I haven't read many short stories before, but I found that these were really great and quite good for when I just had a short time to read. The last book I read while I was in Scotland was 11/22/63. It's not something I would normally choose to read, but Lucy recommended it to me, and I know that she's got very good taste in books, so I picked it up, and I actually found that I really enjoyed it. It's about time travel. I've heard that a lot of his books are kind of quite scary. This wasn't too scary. There were some bits, but mostly it was just very interesting. There's a lot of action in it, and it's really good. And also, I don't know very much about American history, and this sort of filled me in on some areas which I'd missed out. So then later on, when I was having conversations with my family when American history came up, I was able to pretend I knew a bit more than I knew, which was great. But this is a really good book, so I would definitely recommend it if you like time travel, science fiction, that sort of thing. It's great. So if you're just here for the books, now's your time to switch off, and I hope you have some happy reading. For the rest of you, I'll tell you a bit about what I was doing in Scotland. I went to Scotland for the Scottish International Flute Summer School, which I also attended last year, which is a really great course with loads of top teachers. They are like amazing people from conservatoires and things, and students come from all around the world, so it's a great mix of people. And as someone who enjoys playing the flute and being with other people who enjoy playing the flute, it was fantastic. We did loads of cool stuff, and I learned how to play the bass flute, which was quite fun. So that was my main purpose for going to Scotland, but I went up a few days earlier because I was going with a friend who'd never been to Scotland before. So I took her around Glasgow and Edinburgh. We mostly went into the shops. In the past I've gone into the art galleries there, which are really great, but she wasn't interested in that. So we mostly went around the shops, and we went up to Edinburgh Castle, which is really cool, and we saw loads of people playing the bagpipes, which is different. The weather was ridiculously hot. Scotland should not be that hot. That was the only drawback. It was slightly unbearable at times because no one really had air conditioning. But it was really great, really good fun, and as I said, the course was amazing. So that was what I did in Scotland. So I'm going to finish now, and I will be making another video soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, to tell you about the next stage. If you've read any of the books that I was talking about and enjoyed them, or even not enjoyed them, let me know. And if you have any recommendations for books that you want me to look at in the future, also let me know. I hope you're having a great summer.